We up. What's up?
What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? Lamont, what you looking at? Pornhub?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I didn't know if he was logging out or...
Whoa, 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 whoa. You been in my search engine?
I mean, listen, when you text me and you was like, I got 30 more minutes on the Stormy Daniels video, I'm going to try to finish up your podcast. I didn't know if you was finishing it up or not. I didn't know if you was doing it or not.
These are all jokes. This was...
Not like Earthquake. Earthquake says, these ain't jokes. It's all funny until it ain't funny no more.
No, these is jokes. Because there's some people that look at this and listen to this podcast and take everything we say very serious.
Isn't that amazing how people will like, people text me all the time and respond to some of the things that we talk about, and some of the things that we do. And I think that the one thing that we have on this podcast is a great balance of, humor as well as education and intellect and so forth and so on, being knowledgeable about what's going on with politics and, hip hop and so forth and so on. But everything we say
is true. Everything we say is 100% true. 100% true.
Stop, man.
It's 100% true.
Not everything.
Yeah, not everything.
Lamont, so you didn't just finish watching Stormy Daniels? That's true.
God, no.
But, wait a minute. But you didn't just get finished watching Pornhub.
No. First of all, wait. Let me say this. First of all, I like dark meat. Okay. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with white meat. You know what I'm saying? I like dark meat. Anybody that knows me know I go for the dark piece of chicken.
Let me ask you a stupid question. I'm sorry. I respect you on the black,
Right.
Is that racist? Is it racist when you are going to a porn site and
you won't look at the white women on the porn site, Lamont?
You know what I do? Listen, can we get off pornography?
The Latino women can't get no love.
No. This is serious.
Yo quiero no Latino.
Yo,
what?
I don't know.
Marvin Wayans was on The Real one time, right? Marvin. No, but who's the youngest one?
Let's not be like Marvin.
No, Marvin
Wayans. is the Wayans, not Winans, right? Wayans?
Yeah, Marlon Wayans.
The comedian.
The comedian.
Okay, jeez.
He was on The Real one time, a long time ago, and he was talking about, pornography and so forth and so on. And I don't know if it was that or the Breakfast Club, but he was saying at a certain age, a man should not watch pornography any longer. At sometimes it becomes childish. After you get like 40 years old, Lamont, after you get 40 years old, you should not be watching pornography anymore because it's just like childish.
Are we really having this conversation?
Because there's still a lot of men out there who are well over 40 that watches pornography. I was listening to, I'm a huge Howard Stern fan. He's always talking about pornography and how he watches pornography and so forth and so on. Is there a certain cutoff point where a man be like, yo,
so let me, so can I answer this? Can I answer,
watching pornography.
So can I answer this since we throwing the porn thing out? I grew up in the city of Detroit, right? In the city of Detroit, going to the strip club was a staple. It's just something that you did. We would go to the strip club to have, in my opinion, some of the best crab legs in town.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will go there before. No, you laughing, man. Hold on, just give me a minute. Yo. That's real. There was the best crab legs ever.
Surf and turf. Surf and turf
was incredible. Before the internet, the strip club was where you went and met the bootleg man in the bathroom to get all your latest movies. Am I right?
I didn't do that, but okay, continue on.
And again, this was way back in the day.
Yeah.
The strip
club. Four and got one free. So you got 4 regular bootlegs and 1 free and the free one.
Exactly. So 20 years ago, if you wanted to see Black Panther, you didn't go to your Fire Stick. You went to the strip club and met the bootleg man in the bathroom, or he met you outside to get you the latest movies. The strip club was always also a place where, men just kind of went and that was their hangout place. I used to go to the strip club daily. Okay?
True.
It's true. Mm-hmm. I had a corporate card for a corporate company that encouraged us to spend their corporate money in the strip club. DJs, programmers, whatever.
I hate when that indictment comes out.
Whatever. I remember there was a strip club owner at the time that I said, listen, this is what I need you to do. I'm going to pay you to get something called wireless internet in the strip club so I could check my records on the computer. This how far back we go. What I'm saying all that is that, for probably maybe 15 to 20 years, I went to the strip club all the time. We did it across the country. In the music business, that's still a place that you go to break your music. One day, I woke up.
It's a pivot, Lamont. That's a pivot.
No,
You almost, Lamont.
He almost there. He almost there.
Can I finish?
It's a yes or no question. Are you watching Stormy Daniels or no?
No, this is going to be your thing. What I'm saying is that one day I woke up and said, I just don't want to go to the strip club anymore because I felt like I was too old and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that a beer that somebody paid 30 cents for, you charged me $5.
Ooh.
It doesn't make sense to go to a building with no windows and no clock on the wall. I just got to a mental point to where it doesn't make sense. So you all have a great day. Have a great time. I'm going to go do something else. I say all that to say that I do
understand. To the strip club, to the country club.
So, now the 30-cent beer is $17.
I mean, and the bar owners, because I know what he pays, whatever. So what I'm saying is that I do understand sometimes there's growth but everybody's different. And again, I'm going to say this with all due respect. Stormy Daniels is not my type of hype. That's not what I do. Pornhub is not necessary. I'm good. I don't need to do all that.
So where is Stormy Daniels in regards to this week? She came out. She's suing Trump's ex-lawyer, and what is she doing now? Because I was very confused because I didn't know she was suing her lawyer or Michael Cohen or who or what. Where are we at with the Stormy Daniels thing right now?
Well, I think what we found out once in the past, and it was always kind of thrown out there when we first understood that was Stormy Daniels' attorney at the time of the agreement working for Stormy Daniels, or was he not working for Stormy Daniels, or working for Stormy Daniels as well as working for the opposing counsel? And now they found a lot of underlying communications between her lawyer at the time of the settlement and Michael Cohen, where they were actually strategizing to put Stormy Daniels on TV so that she could say that President Trump was a great man or nothing happened or whatever kind of propaganda that they wanted Stormy Daniels to say. And it turns out that this lawyer, who was Stormy Daniels' lawyer, has worked across the table, if you will, from Michael Cohen on several other accounts where silence in the stories of women are concerned. And for whatever reason, these two guys keep winding up coming up in these scenarios where getting a settlement and silencing a woman, particularly with Donald Trump or one or two of other persons are concerned. And people say, well, yeah, that's kind of strange. These women just for some reason can't seem to get a different attorney than this guy. And then so now they found that these guys were colluding with one another pretty much to help Stormy Daniels be quiet and help Donald Trump win an election.
Man, I mean, the whole thing just becomes more and more and more entertaining by the day. And I'm telling you, in 8 years from now, this is all going to be a big reality show. It's going to be sold to Netflix, where we're going to be able to watch the president and how he turned the country into one big reality show. Speaking of reality shows, let's get into the show by starting off with Kim Kardashian West. Kim Kardashian West met with President Trump to pardon, is her name Alicia Taylor?
That sounds right.
Sorry if we said it wrong. But is this a good thing? It is a good thing. The whole thing now that we're talking about in the last couple of days since, Kim Kardashian West went to the, White House, and now we're talking about prison reform. The sad part about this is that even though nobody likes Van Jones on this, show, but Van Jones, the girl Topeka, and a whole bunch of other people have been fighting for this woman 3 years. They've been fighting for this woman for years to get her out. And then here comes Kim Kardashian to use her celebrity influence to meet with the president and get this lady free. So is the president going to start using celebrities, or should celebrities start using themselves to help things that are going on in bad? I know that was a lot in that, what I just said there, but if you don't mess with Trump, should we be talking to Trump to get things done? I talked about that a couple of weeks ago, where Meek Mill didn't go. A couple of people are like, no, I'm not messing around with the president. But now Kim Kardashian goes, gets something done. Should we start using that as a strategy to make things happen?
Who? Lamont? Maynard?
No, Maynard, because you told us several podcasts ago that, even if we got to sneak in the side door to get it done, let's do it. Remember that?
Hold on. I just want to know who was the question for.
It was for anybody. I'm sorry. I was long in that.
Right,
I was long in that.
All right. So what I'll say then, Lamont, why you trying to come at me all sideways? Now you trying to come at me a little bit. I feel a little bit put upon.
Well, here's what you're going to do. You're going to do, just like with the job numbers, is even though Donald Trump probably is as close as we've seen in our lifetime to the devil, whether his motives are what they are, he's done.
The devil?
No, that's what I read that. Somebody's like, yo, this guy is like the devil.
You're going to be on you this week, boy.
It's all good. Ain't no problem. Listen, I told the IRS they'll get their payment in 2 weeks. So I'm just saying at the end of the day, what he did, of course, it was a good thing. Was it for the wrong reason? Absolutely. Spud, I'm actually surprised that you've turned in your Van Jones VIP fan club. I thought he was president of the
Northeast Chapter. But
the Midwest chapter.
He turned it in for a hater meter card.
Oh, okay. I mean, because Van was right. He's like, listen, you're probably going to mess around and be in a promotional video for Donald Trump in 2020. Because I've read in several articles, and they might be prepping us, Donald might get 4 more, bro.
I don't even think it's a might at this point. I think with Kanye West, with, the things that are going on that's moving, I think that he has the momentum and the train to get 4 more years. And there isn't anyone at this moment, that can beat that, because all of the negative things that we have talked about in the first, 16 months at this point, 17 months, have all been negative, but now those things are starting to turn around. And even though they're not good things, like you just said, Lamont, but they shine the light so much on the base that the base believes that these things are good, that they're going to go out and say, Donald Trump is, lowered African-American unemployment. He's lowered the unemployment rate. Oh, he is, he's pardoned, people from jail, whether they be celebrity or not. Now all of a sudden he's looking to work with the NFL players after even though he called them SOBs, now he's willing to work with them, and he's willing to, ask them.
When has he been willing to?
And Spud, I would appreciate if you would use the proper term that the president used, which is the blacks.
The blacks.
If you go back to his tweet, he called us the blacks. So he let out a
Is that a capital T, the blacks?
No.
The blacks.
Well, his grammar
That's a T-shirt. That's a T-shirt, man. Get the T-shirt man on the phone. Say, can we get the black T-shirt?
It's on his tweet, bro. The blacks.
The
blacks. So he lowered the unemployment rate for the blacks. He let a black go. He's reaching out to the blacks that are NFL players to say, who should I pardon? And I'm saying to myself, this dude, he catches a football, bro. He runs up and down the field 100 yards. Why are you asking him who should be pardoned and who shouldn't be pardoned? You know what I'm saying? But like you said, Spud, he's going to take that back to his base. Mm-hmm. And he goes like, see, they still complaining on CNN, but I'm over here helping the blacks.
But even if they don't, because it only takes one, in the case of Kim Kardashian, it only takes one for somebody to come to the table and say, hey, look, you're giving the olive branch to the NFL players. Where's
this olive branch?
The olive branch was this week where he's like, NFL players, tell me what you want me to do. That was this conversation.
At the same, so hold on. Didn't this week he also say we're not inviting the Eagles? And
yeah.
Okay. Didn't he call all of them sons of bitches? And so there's 50 things over here that he's done that's been negatives. Then there's maybe a little teeny tiny thing that
whoa. That black woman's life is not a little bitty tiny now. Come on, man.
Wait a minute, no. But to Maynard's point,
I'm not talking about the pardon. I'm talking about the reaching out. So let me. And this is the thing.
But you're going somewhere that's very special, right? But that is the unfortunate situation that we're talking about.
Because
wait a minute, hold on. There's good people on both sides, right? Remember that? Mm-hmm. Oh, look at my African American over there. Oh, I can walk, you're getting shot. Your schools are messed up. Chicago, what's going on? Oh, let me pardon this one lady. All of those things go away. If I was an NFL owner, I'd tell those SOBs, you're fired. They're disrespecting the flag. All he needs is one. If he has one win in that category, unfortunately, all the rest of those things go away.
Well, this is what I would say. Let's back up talk about the pardon. We arrived there? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Let's talk about the pardon. Yeah, Lamont, you were right that I said that where you get an opportunity, you take it, even if sometimes it doesn't come the way you prefer. And I believe that justice is justice. When you can take some justice, you take that justice. As a result of that, people are going to start to look. It might not be this year. It might not be for 4 more or 5 or 8 or 12 years. But people will be able to point to, hey, we don't believe as a country any longer that first-time nonviolent drug offenders should spend X number of days, years, months, or whatever the case may be. Like, these sentences are too long. What proof do we have? Well, the president himself pardoned someone. So he didn't know that he was going to wind up doing something called setting a precedent, but that's what can happen. Why it took, I'm sorry that the optics are Kim Kardashian and Donald Trump to bring this, but it is what it is. So we'll take it. I'm fine with that. Now, what I think happens is there was a misunderstanding of the power available to the players in the NFL. And I said this immediately after the new policy was announced. The NFL and their owners will look stupid if a 53-man roster decides that, you know what, 47 of us won't take the field. We won't go to the sidelines. We'll just stay in the locker room until the anthem is over, and then we'll go to the sideline and then we'll play. That's what happened. That's literally what happened to Trump. They were like, there's a 53-man team plus the owner, coaches, assistants, etc., and only 10 people were going to show up. It was going to look bad. And These people have the opportunity to say, okay, you made a rule, we'll use your rule and beat you over the head with it. The NFL is going to look stupid this season if they continue to say that this is the rule they're going to enforce, because the players will just not show up.
Now, Maynard, you have a master's degree, am I right?
I do.
Okay. The average Trump base, do you think they got a master's degree?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right.
No, 20 only like 27%, 28% of America has a college degree.
Right. So, the importance of what you just said, which is being educated, in the black community, we say it's being woke. Most people are not woke. So, when you're being fed the television, all you're being fed is Donald Trump did this. It's the same thing with Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian got this lady a pardon, which she did. And bless her heart, every celebrity at this point should be looking at this as a strategy to say, how do we work with Donald Trump, or either we work better to be able to help the system regardless, because Kim Kardashian supported Hillary Clinton, came out, said that she doesn't really care, but she used Ivanka Trump, Jared Kushner to be able to get to the president, to be able to use that photo op to be able to get this lady out. I was listening to the radio yesterday. Actually, I was listening to Howard Stern and whatever Quivers. Robin Quivers said, I don't even believe Donald Trump knew what he did. He just was like, you know what? Kim Kardashian, you want this girl to go home? Cool. Let the girl go home. Fine. Go on, girl. I bet you if somebody asks him right now as he lands in Korea for the summit, if somebody right now asks him, oh, how do you feel about the pardon that you just did? He'll probably be like, who? I don't even know who that lady is.
Wait, Spudd, stop.
Pardon?
Wait,
no,
stop.
I would like some Grey Poupon. Pardon me. Can you pass that Grey Poupon?
Yeah. Anyway,
wait. Donald Trump made me Google, did they burn down the White House in Canada? When he said that, I missed something. I said, let me Google this real quick. I said, oh, here go Donald again. Listen.
Didn't the Canadians burn down the White House back in 1812?
I said, did I miss something?
That would be the British.
Stay right there, ladies and gentlemen. We got to go to a quick break. When we come back, our friend Azim Rasheed will be with us to talk about Black Music Month. Stay right there. You're watching Three Black Guys with the Mic. All right, welcome back to Three Black Guys with the Mic. Make sure you check us out at threeblackguyswiththemic.com. Honored to have, Azim Rasheed on the podcast. I go back with Azim. Gosh, Azim, how many years now?
A long time.
Sheesh, Manish. I go back to Azim when I was 17 years old, sleeping in the radio station. That's how far back I go with Azim. Welcome. Thank you so very much for joining us, man. Thank you so very much for being a part of Three Black Guys with the Mic. I gotta ask you first, what made you decide to get into the record business after being a rapper? Because I'm sure, you could have been just as big as Drake and Jay and, Nas and the whole 9 yards. What made you stop rapping?
Well, good morning, and thank you guys for having me. And today I'm the fourth black guy.
Take that.
It's an interesting question, bruh. Anytime you need me, I'm here. It's interesting, Spudd, you say that because I actually, over the last few years, have been asked that question in terms of people not knowing I used to be an artist and that kind of thing.
Oh, we
and
about
for
to
me,
back in the booth? You getting back in the booth?
It's just, no, sir. Actually, it's funny. I'll tell you a funny story about that in a second. But,
hold on. I can drop a beat though. Hold on.
Here we go. Oh, not this morning, gentlemen. Not this morning.
Hot 16?
No, we can't get you. Oh, the beat is there, but come on, man.
I got a hot.
Okay.
I got a hot 4 for you. It was just part of my journey, man. One thing I've been blessed with is to never look back. When that part of my life ran its course, it was over, and never, I did put out one solo record that did miserably after I departed the group Nemesis. But for me, it was just really about taking the next step forward, taking a leap, and just continuing to be in and around the music. And even being an artist, for me, was always just to be around the music. I fell into rapping. I fell into DJing. I was a promoter first, always. When we were DJing high school parties and DJing neighborhood parties at the clubhouse, I was the guy creating the flyer, passing them out, cutting the deal to get the equipment. Even when we had our independent label, which is how we started, I was the guy. This is back when you could actually press up records. I was the guy at the pressing plant, pressing the records up, setting up the distribution deals, going to the record stores and actually doing consignment deals, where you leave 10 CDs, you get paid for those, you come back, you give them 10 more. So I was always intrigued with the business. And one of the guys who was one of the original members of the group, we were talking the other day because we connect, monthly or quarterly just to catch up. And he said, as he's seen my journey through the years in the business, he said he can remember that I was always the guy, even when we were rapping, I was the guy with the briefcase. And so my journey to the business side, I guess, was ordained by God from day one, but I just never lost focus of that. So the privilege of being an artist, and it's definitely has helped me through the years in the business, the privilege of being an artist is something I never took for granted, but I think my end journey was always to be on the business side.
Let me ask you this, and I definitely know that Maynard might want to get in. I've seen your journey go from radio to records, to being from radio to street promotion to record rep to a record executive. The record business as an artist and as a executive is difficult. How have you been able to ride the terrain throughout the years? Because you have continuously, had great jobs, and then fallen, and then got another great job, and then fallen. So, it's the up and down and ebb and flow. But how have you been continuously able to stay consistent and growing in the record business? Especially because it's shrinking now and it's getting smaller. How have you been able to continue to grow in the record business?
Well, first of all praise due to Allah, because without him, nothing happens. And again, as I said, for me, it's just the blessing of just forward progression. Always keep my eye on the ball. I never want to do anything else but be in the record business. You can go and talk to my grandparents are not here anymore, but you talk to my older aunts and even my cousins. From the time I was 6 years old, being in and around the music was what I wanted to do. And it's so funny because, I got into the music business in Texas when hip hop was still in its infancy stages. And back then, people who in Texas and in the southern markets in general didn't really understand what hip hop was. And, here I am, a kid from Cleveland, Ohio, and they're like, yo, you dress funny, you talk funny, and what is this rap stuff you're talking about? And throughout my whole, from high school to college, it was always, are you still trying to be in the music business? And I just have been taking those tiny steps, looking forward. I've had some great mentors who've helped me. But I've never had a gap in my employment. I've never had a gap in my progression. I just went from one thing to the next. And I think part of it is just my work ethic. I come from a good, Midwestern family. My mom's a nurse. My dad's a welder. So just that work ethic of just, you got to get up, you got to go get it every day. Nobody's going to give it to you. That's been the thing. I think most of my employers, most of my clients, most of the people I've worked with, they all see that work ethic. And I kind of have a mantra. You can look better, be faster, smarter, taller, stronger, but the one thing that you can't control is my work ethic, and I'm going to do my best to outwork you, no matter what advantage that you may seem to have over me. And that is the thing I think that has sustained me throughout my career. That is the thing I think people admire about me if they do, and that's the same thing I try to instill in my children.
So when we were in Dallas. Because Azim and I worked at 100.3, which is a legendary radio station in Dallas. You went from there and
legendary.
That's a legendary station. But so you went there, you left there and went to MCA. Was that the first record job?
No. Actually, and I've always, I think I got Jamaican blood. I always had more than one job in high school and college. Mm-hmm. When I was in school, I was working part-time at the radio station. I was also working part-time at Hastings Retailers, which I guess would be a Barnes & Nobles today, and going to school. When I left 100.3, I was doing my own street team promotions company as well as working part-time in Motown. And when I graduated, I was one of the first guys to do national mix show promotion for Mercury Records. L. Al Scratch, we had a record back with I think that was probably the biggest record at the time that we were working with. Yeah, that's it. That was it. That was my first national record that I worked. And so I went from there to Motown, which is my first full-time promotion gig.
Wow. And who haven't you worked for? Because I know you worked at. Did you work at Eris? Did you work at? Did you work for Bad Boy? Did you work for Bad Boy at one point?
No, it was funny. It's funny you said. I was looking at my resume the other day. I said, hold on. I don't want to check all the boxes, but I think I've worked for the big companies.
Right.
I've worked for Motown. I worked at MCA, which was part of the Universal Music Group. I worked at Motown Universal. So I worked at Motown twice at that point. I worked at Atlantic, which we had a distribution agreement where I was working for and with Bad Boy and Asylum at the time. And then I went to Capitol Records, and most recently I'm at Rock Nation.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the things that is kind of what we really want to do, some of the parts of what we want to discuss is Black Music Month, or the kind of the history. And what's changed is being men of a certain age that, what came before us was, R&B and funk and soul of all types, the Motown era, if you will. And I remember when rap was not supposed to be around, and you kind of alluded to that, but people were like, what is this rap thing? Wasn't supposed to be around. It was a fad. It was a trend. How has rap music or the hip hop industry not only sustained to become the largest thing? Because I got a story about the Ill Al Scratch record in a second, but it has not just made the artists wealthy or household names in many instances, but created a path for a lot of young black executives like yourself.
Well, what is interesting, and I can't substantiate this in fact, but I will say it as a fact that I believe. Hip hop is America's number one export. It knows no color lines, it knows no gender lines, it knows no language barriers. It is the one thing that you could think of. And music, if you really think about it in general, music is probably America's number one export, because whether it's blues, jazz, rock and roll, R&B, and hip hop, these things have always traveled. Is a commodity and is an export that has traveled the world for the last, 100 years, I guess you would say.
True.
And I think that, to quote Russell Simmons, hip hop is culture. Hip hop is black culture. And if you look at, what our people have contributed through the centuries to civilization, this is just another step, if you ask me. This is my opinion. This is no one else's opinion. This is what I think. But I think it can be substantiated when you look at the fact that whether you're in Asia, whether you're in Europe, whether you're in India, wherever you are in the world, hip hop has an influence. And once that beat drops, it doesn't really matter where you're from. It doesn't really matter what you look like. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female or other. It's just about the music and the culture and the dress and the lifestyle, and it brings people together. Russell Simmons said it. Steve Stoute wrote a book about it. The tanning of America. That is really the tanning of the world, but it started in the Bronx, and it's hip hop. And Russell Simmons and Kool Herc, those guys are the godfathers of the game. And I think that it's just been an opportunity for cats like me from the inner city. I did go to college. But who knew what my life would have been without the music? Go ahead.
One thing that as you mentioned, the Ill Al Scratch record, and I'm pretty sure at the time, Mercury. I remember going to Mercury at the 825 location, and like hip hop was like a closet. It was Garth Brooks was the biggest thing in the building. It was 3 floors or whatever, and then within. It seemed like a blink of an eye. It was, country was on its way out, and hip hop was taking over.
I'm sorry, you finished your question, or that was?
Yeah. I mean, that's just kind of a stage. Just what do you think was just made it so colossal in this ability to infect the culture generally larger?
I mean, it's youth culture. I mean, it's the same, as rock and roll was. It's the same as, like I said, jazz and blues was. These are all music forms and art forms created by us. Yeah, it's youth culture. It's music that we made, just like jazz and the blues and rock and roll. If you go to the beginning, it was always looked upon as, that's not cool. That's not accepted. It's not, doesn't meet the socially accepted standards of other people. As it catches on and gets popular, like anything else, it migrates to the suburbs, it migrates to other people, and then all of a sudden it's a cultural phenomenon. And at the point that you can't turn on the television, turn on the radio, walk down the street, look at a sign, look at a print ad where there's not a touch of hip hop influence, that's just what it is. And I think that's the blessing of music in general.
So, Azim, let's go back to 1999. First, I gotta, they accused me on this podcast of going a little long, so just roll with me for a second. Last week, last week,
Spudd, go ahead and get your drink ready, man.
I tapped off the coffee.
Yeah, top it off. So last week we did I did a little piece on Dick Griffey. I think, Dick Griffey is one of those guys in the music business that a lot of people don't know that was very influential and had his hands in a lot of different things and kind of helped, create and cultivate a lot of different things. But a lot of people don't know, definitely who listen to this podcast, who've heard me over the past year talk about a lot of my musical experiences and being in a business. You know, we just wanted on record that some of those were all and because of this guy that we have on the podcast today, Azim Rasheed, who was actually my boss, or I'd say one of my bosses at the time at MCA Records back in 1999, which is actually my first real corporate American Express card having job. So,
I wish you could have heard 10 minutes before you got on about what he was doing with that corporate card. Azim, you said here's what he was doing with that corporate card.
I can only imagine.
Oh, boy, so that's why I had to put that in there.
I can only imagine.
I had to put that in there. So I went and said all that to say, and I want to make sure this is on record, because I said it to you before. But see, now the beauty of this podcast and why we started it, and I think what's important is that we record these conversations among black men, and because what we're doing is we're feeding other people, you know, not only in the States but also around this country, about just some of our experiences. And I want it on record for people just to know and understand how we do work together, and for me to say thank you for, at the time, there was a lot of stuff I didn't understand, like Spudd and Maynard. They used to make me wake up at 5 a.m. to look at BDS reports. And I'm like, this could wait till 9, you know what I mean? But, you know, it was certain things that they would make us do that, you know, now I understand, you know, was a good thing. So here's my question, because I think, you know, going back to the Dick Griffey piece, he had this ability to see what was coming down and around the corner in terms of the music.
Did you tell everybody that Dick Griffey was the chairman and president of Solar Records, for people who don't know?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So as I'm saying, with his vision, you know, like, you know, which what I think he had a great one, again, that's not celebrated. You know, I kind of want to put some of that sauce on Azim. Is what is the vision of this thing called the urban or black, or, you know, as the president calls us, the blacks, of this music business? It's like, I do understand a lot of the things that you said, and I know we talk about black history, but if we could forecast, where are we going? Because some of it is a little troubling, but some of it is also kind of groundbreaking. So let me know some of your thoughts about, you know, where is this music business going?
Can I just add to that? Because that was going to be my next question, you know, and I'm sorry. I just going to add.
No, you're not, Spud. No, you're not.
I am sorry, because I know this is your question, and I know you like your shine, and I know you're sensitive, and, you know, I know your mom did not talk to you about the Easter Bunny and Christmas, so I know you deal with, you know,
between the two of y'all, there's like
just
3 minutes of y'all and no minutes of Azim.
I know, but I wanted to.
We're so sorry.
I'm gonna come back. We're gonna come back.
But Azim, and I just want to echo what Lamont is saying, because that was going to be my next question. It's even talking about, you know, Steve Stoute and the Tanning of America. It is amazing to me, and I had this argument, you know, because I used to be a program director. It's amazing to me when white radio stations are able to play black music, but black radio stations won't even dare to touch anything that's outside of what they call, you know, I guess the demo or hip hop music and so forth and so on. You know, in the Tanning of America piece, you know, where people are not starting to see color lines, do you see black music actually starting to expand? I mean, I love what you guys are doing with Rock Nation and actually gone beyond just, you know, looking at black artists. You guys have an array of artists. So is that going to grow in the sense of where people are going to start, especially in the black community, start to accept other races and demographics and genres of music beyond hip hop and rap? I'm sorry I cut that in and I put a lot on you with, you know, Lamont's thing, but I wanted to get that off before I forgot. And now I'm done.
Well, I can't. I mean, I can't speak to you know, to the world. I can't speak to the future because I'm not a fortune teller. But what I can say is that, you know, our music, you know, we the disenfranchised people, and we the former sons and daughters of slaves, we the great grandchildren of slaves. You know, we've always had to create our own opportunities. The one thing I can tell you from the building of this country, this is just me, my journey and history that I've learned, you know, again, you know, only we could have done what we did in terms of building America. And so when you talk about hip hop and music specifically, only we could have done this. You know, reinventing the wheel, that's a different conversation. That's what I think is going on now. I think the state of music in general, and black music particularly, we're in a crisis mode. We're in chaos because it goes back to education. I remember going to the Grammys in 2003. The last time I was in New York before last year, and I'm watching on stage Avril Lavigne and John Mayer and all these rock bands on stage, and these cats are playing instruments and they're jumping up and down, they're singing on key. But when we're on that stage, we got two turntables and a microphone. Mm-hmm. And all of us, everything's a cycle, everything's is circular. So if you think about it, the fact that there's no music in the schools, though, when I was in school, I'm sure you guys as well, you had band, you had choir, you had all these things that were curriculum items, not just, electives, but things that you had to do while you were in, elementary school, middle school, and high school. Well, you take the music out of the schools, you stop teaching cats how to play instruments, you take away the access, the opportunity for them to be intrigued about how to do this. Now they have to form a different identity about how they can be involved. So hip-hop gave everybody that could afford or had access to two turntables and a microphone an opportunity to be a part of the music, and then became the beat machines and the beatbox. Those things which were probably less expensive and probably took less practice or took less time to learn and master, that became our instrument. But when you talk about the rudimentary elements of music, and this goes back to, Quincy Jones' book, the movie and the book that's coming out and what he's been talking about the last few years, those things never change. There's only so many chords, so many keys, so many notes. And if you can't read and write music, then how can you produce something that's going to be lasting forever? How can you create something that's going to always be around? And the type of music, we'll call it disposable music for this conversation, it's always been there. Disco came and went. Moody music came and went. And some of the stuff that we call trap now will come and go. But if you look at the biggest and the brightest artists, and whether they're black, brown, or other, those artists are true vocalists, they're true lyricists. The musical elements that they use to produce their product, it goes back to the foundations of music. And it's not just about a beat or a sample. And this doesn't discredit people who do that, but we're talking about something that's going to last, that can be passed on for generations. We talk to these kids now, the millennials and even the ones that come behind them, who's going to be, your Jay-Z? Who's going to be your Janet Jackson? Who's going to be your Michael Jackson? And those, and it's hard pressed for them, and it's part of our job as people in the business, curators of the culture. It's our job to try to help them find their way. It's part of our job to help curate that opportunity for them to understand picking up an instrument is a tool. The Roots crew's around today because they're musicians. Mm-hmm. Right. Think about how many artists, how many rap groups aren't here today, who have a long legacy like the Roots. I think part of it going, but to get to your question about us accepting other forms of music, but I think part of it is, we authenticate what's cool.
There it is. That's it.
And I think when you talk about, a Sam Smith or an Adele or a Justin Timberlake, an NSYNC, those things that have kind of bridged, rolled the line, or today, go back to a Vanilla Ice, or now you're talking about, what's the kid, the rock star kid, from Dallas, the white rapper.
Oh, Post Malone.
But Post Malone, talking about a Post Malone, you're talking about those kind of cats, if they're authentic to the music and they're authentic to the culture, then we always have let them in. They're not the first. How many people know Bobby Caldwell was white?
Yo, and so that means
people know Bobby Caldwell was white.
Right, nobody. Right. So that means that Bruno Mars is probably good to go then, huh?
Bruno, listen, be clear. Bruno's soul brother number one. Like, don't.
Come on, that's what I'm talking about.
Bruno's brown.
Lamont,
don't do that.
It has been
Bruno's
said.
brown.
Bruno is brown, sure. Baby. That's official. That's official.
Azim, but real quick before we let you go, because I know you got to go. With what Rock Nation is doing, what Tidal is doing, what Steve Stoute is doing with United Masters, what's the future of the record business? Getting back to Lamont's question, where are we going? If the power is starting to go more independent and into the artist's hands, what's the future of the music business as a record label?
And digital as well.
I mean, the one thing that people need to understand is all about access. What record companies and what distribution companies are for, they're about access and opportunity. I tell cats all the time, to get questioned, the guy with the best talent doesn't have the money. The guys with the money don't have the best talent. So it's about a merge of talent and industry, and it's about opportunity. The one thing streaming has done, it's made it, good or bad, it's made it so that anybody with a computer can now be heard. It has opened up the marketplace to anyone all over the world globally. I did a panel at Revolt a couple of years ago, and Tim Mabasa, who was the head of Spotify at the time, is now over at YouTube. He said it's made it more competitive, though, because we, back in the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s, the record community could control the narrative. We decided whether to push Spudd versus Maynard. We decided whether Lamont could put our record today or next week. Now, all you have to do is upload it, and it's out there. But it's made it more competitive because now the cream really has to rise to the top. The analytics and looking at what you're streaming and your social media footprint and what people care about, because you're now competing on a global level with everyone in the world that's putting out any type of music anywhere on the planet. So that's made it harder. So the future of the business, I think, is really about research, about key executives, and we have to keep grooming them and training them and bringing them to the fold, people who understand music, understanding what is something that is going to be streamable today versus something that's going to be sellable for the next 30 years. And those opportunities are going to come because music is such an intrinsic part of who we are. Music isn't just about a beat and the lyric. Birds make music. The ocean makes music. Music is just part of the world. And I think if you understand it as a science, you understand that there's a place and time for everything. But I think the shift to, quote-unquote, more traditional forms of instrumentation, more traditional forms of vocalists, that is coming back and it's turning the tide. And that's the one thing that other people have never lost sight of. I think that we, as a community, have always been very quick to dispose of our old onto the new. But again, there's nothing new under the sun. Again, there's only, 7 chords. There's only so many notes, that you can play, and how you manipulate. Now, there's billions of ways to manipulate and put those things together, but you're still talking about the very basics of music. And I think that, everything has its time. And when this run is over, you'll see probably a more traditional form of music come back. It doesn't mean that what's happening now is going to go totally away, but just another category be added.
So Maynard, I got a question for you, Maynard. So now you see why I'm so fly?
No, I don't.
I don't.
I don't. I mean, I didn't even know what you said. I didn't even know how you even came up with that even question.
Are you saying you saying that some of Azim's magic is spilled onto you?
Look, dog,
you would be blessed if that's true.
I just need y'all to pay attention to what he's saying.
Yeah, listen, we've already decided that we were going to Photoshop your head out and we were going to put Azim's head in.
I'm in.
You've been around in this business before we let you go, man. You've been around this business a long time. Top 5 rappers of all time. Who are the top 5 rappers of all time in your opinion?
The top 5.
Your top 5.
No particular. Don't let me down, baby. Don't let me down.
No particular
Please
order.
Don't let me down.
No particular order.
No particular order.
Mm-hmm.
God Rakim, always.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Eminem.
All right.
Jay-Z.
Hard.
Biggie. Pop.
All right. I feel that. I
need a substitution. I need a sub.
Now, if I can add some reserves for the top 5. We round it out to top 10. You got to add Rev Run.
Okay.
Got to add Scarface.
Okay.
Got to add Ice Cube.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude. It's like there's a lot of guys.
Put Ice Cube in there. I mean, these guys don't want to put Ice Cube. They don't, I don't know why they don't want to give Ice Cube their props.
You know why?
I'm sorry. Oh, hold on. Number 9, DOC.
Hold on, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Your five was solid, but
right.
I ain't heard no Slick Rick. Where's Slick Rick at?
So let me ask you a question. Between DLC and Ice Cube, do you think there would be a West Coast hip hop? You got to understand. Listen,
yes,
DLC got cut short. Go back and listen to the. Nobody does it better. Go back and listen to
DLC was
dope.
dope.
The guy cursed. The guy cursed one time when cursing was allowed. The whole album.
DLC was dope. DLC was dope.
The DLC. Listen, what the argument, because the argument by Biggie and Pac was better. Well, Pac had a bigger body of work, right? But Biggie had just as much, if not more, influence. And I never, when I'm looking at who was the greatest or who I think were the dopest MCs ever, what I never do is I never look at how much they contribute. I look at what they contributed, how it affected the culture.
True. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't hear a Nas though. Did you name Nas?
No, you didn't know y'all. When I went to DLC, y'all started clowning me. I put Nas in that top 10. I put Nas in there in the 10.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so very much for taking this, early morning and, dropping the jewels on people. It's much appreciated, man. Thank you so very much. I'm going to echo, Lamont, with him saying thank you. I say thank you as well. You were extremely instrumental in my career. You helped me get my first, full-time radio job in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I go to Mr. Perry. I got plenty of Mr. Perry stories, but you've always been, not just to me, not just to Lamont, but people in the music business period. I'm sure I can speak for the business, and especially for those people who are coming up in the business. I'm sure everybody would say that you are always somebody that they can turn to get advice from, that you are always, upfront, straight. You've always been on the straight and narrow. You've always represented people at a high level, man. So we appreciate what you've done for the music business and what you've done for individuals within the music business, man. So I would truly appreciate it. Thank you so very much for taking this morning, my man.
Listen, thank you guys for the opportunity. I'm always available, and I stand on the shoulders of others, so my job is to continue to push that forward. Thank you, guys. And listen, I enjoy the show. Keep going.
Peace and blessings.
Man. All right, man. Be cool.
Peace out, Azim. I want to go back to Kim Kardashian. We started out the show with Kim Kardashian and prison reform and so forth and so on. So what's next? I mean, I've been very... I'm toying with it, right? Because one side of it is I appreciate for what she did. I appreciate, Allison getting out. I appreciate her using her relationships and her leverage to be able to, do something for the good. Go, Kim Kardashian, all good. I'm with that. But on the other side, it says something so much about our country, and I'm going to say white privilege and privilege in those who are celebrities and people who have privilege in this country to do things. How do you guys feel about it? I mean, seriously, on the end of the day, how do you guys feel about it?
Well, I'm just confused. Kim Kardashian just gets to run up into the White House like that. Then that's kind of crazy. And I wonder, let's say she was still a celebrity, but she was not a beautiful woman. She just happened to be a plain Jane female without all the voluptuosity or whatever that is called, her voluptuousness and her very, amazing features. Would Donald Trump have taken the meeting is my question. I
think he took the meeting on behalf of Jared and Ivanka.
Again, Kim Kardashian still, whether it's Jared and Ivanka saying to do this, Kim Kardashian gets on Jared and Ivanka's radar because she's Kim Kardashian. Now, I wonder would he take the meeting, would Jared and Ivanka respond to, Angela Davis? Would they respond to Gayle King? If Gayle King had this as an issue, Lamont's homegirl, and tread lightly, man. Tread lightly. And said, there's an issue, and I want to, address it. I wonder if, Ivanka, Jared, if your father-in-law, the president of the United States would be interested in this. And A, would they have brought it forward? And B, would he have said, yeah, sure, I'll entertain sitting down with Gayle King?
Here's a good analogy. Would Donald Trump have taken a meeting with Jay-Z about Khalif Browder when Khalif Browder was in jail?
Absolutely not.
There's your point.
Absolutely not. I mean, let's think about it like Donald Trump still asserts to this day that the Central Park Five are guilty, although evidence has said no, they're not. And I think that he definitely has issues with people who, first let's start with this. Jay-Z obviously supported Hillary Clinton in a very bold way.
So did Kim Kardashian.
Right. I don't think it was as big and as bold. Like, I mean, Jay and Beyonce did concerts.
Yeah. I don't know if she did any fundraisers, but she came out. The girl got 129 million Instagram followers, so it's pretty big.
All right, but I mean, a concert is a big step, right? And
so you're saying that
129,000.
So you're saying that singing and dancing is a big deal?
No, I'm saying you could do this, or you could say, oh, we're going to mobilize 7, 8, 9, 15 people who work this concert. We're going to show up in another city. I'm going to give the thing that costs money, right? I charge people to actually show up and do concerts, and I'm going to give that to Hillary Clinton. And I think it was a big deal. Whether that there was some money exchanged, I don't know. I don't know the circumstances, but doing a concert, there's a lot more work involved with putting on a concert than sending out an Instagram photo.
Maynard and Lamont as well. This is the way I'm feeling about it. Correct me if I'm wrong on this.
You're
and again, wrong. I'm. Thank you.
You're right.
I mean, I'm happy for what happened. I'm happy what happened for Meek Mill. I'm happy that these things happen. These things don't do anything for the average individual, the average black man or black woman that's in prison. These things don't speak to those people. And we're talking about prison reform, which is fun, and I'm great, and I'm glad that we're having that conversation. I do prison ministry. And when I go into the prisons, it's bad looking in prison, right? And having a conversation, they're like, that's cool, but that ain't got nothing to do with me. Who's going to come and save me? Are these things the answer to prison reform is my question. But if you don't have millions of dollars like Jay-Z fought for Meek Mill, and you don't have the publicity and the platform like everybody was doing with Free Meek, and everybody was doing with, along under Kim Kardashian, if you don't have those things, is it really helping prison reform?
So
that's my question. Yes.
And I want to go to my favorite website, UrbanDictionary.com.
Oh.
And
fake news.
And the word of the day is clout chaser. A clout chaser is a person that only hangs with certain people or starts beef with people to gain popularity. And I read that word or picked that word out because, I was studying this Tekashi 6ix9ine, right? It's a little rapper. And he kept using this word. And I said to myself, what the hell is a clout chaser? And then I thought about it and I said, that's Donald Trump. That's Kanye West. That's Kim Kardashian. These people are doing things for what these young people call clout chasing. That's all this is. This is dog and pony. Like Maynard said earlier, he just said a moment ago, it's good that the young lady got out of jail, that she got the whole pardon thing or whatever. But that's not what this is about, period, point blank, because if that's the case, that 123 million, whatever you said she had, there's some other things that she could do and that she should do, but I don't think she's going to do in terms of Kim Kardashian.
Well, I think the position shouldn't be, for lots of people who are in prison, this may not necessarily change their lives. I'm sorry for that. I wish that we could find ways to have prison reform, but I think we're looking at prison reform as a vertical, as in just it by itself. We got to look at this thing horizontally. And so not only are we talking about prison reform, we have to talk about just justice reform. And that starts at the minute that we even the minute that people come in contact with police officers.
Right.
the minute that someone picks up the phone and dials 911. And I think in the past 30, 60 days, we've seen incidents where the woman in Oakland is calling the police on the people for barbecuing. The woman called the police on the girl who fell asleep at Yale because she was, in the study room and she was sleeping and minding her business. They called the police on the women who were golfing too slow. And it's reform that we can't wait until we get to prison to start discussing reform. We also have to talk about sentencing reform. How do we reform sentencing before we get to prison reform and finding people helping to re-adjudicate cases on the back end? We also got to have discussions about how people are being profiled. How do we do that? How do we, and how do we encourage our police officers to have better contact with citizens of all colors, particularly black men, but of all colors, and make better outcomes occur? Then how do we also start trying to destigmatize what a black man is to people? Because this black man is holding a piece of chicken and charcoal, there's some crime that must have been committed. That's craziness. It's chicken, it's charcoal, it's hamburgers. That's all that's going on. This woman wants to call the police, and not just call the police, but her white privilege made her say, I'm going to stand here for 2 hours until the police come. 2 hours? Don't you have other things to do with your life? So we have got to understand that this is a step. It might be it's in the right direction, maybe for the wrong reasons, because Donald Trump is clout chasing, as Lamont said. But we can't just throw this out. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
No, and here's the unfortunate part about it is, Lamont, is how many black men and women are in jail, incarcerated right now on a life sentence or doing 20, 30 years on the same sentence that she was on, right? She's doing a life sentence for drug trafficking. 90% of I don't want to use a percentage, but the majority of the population in prison are in there for nonviolent crimes. What we do with those people? Are they all going to get pardoned? Because now you're looking at the situation like, oh, just because you're Kim Kardashian, no disrespect, and I don't want to take away from Kim, because what she did was fantastic. Even her interview, I can't wait to see it on Van Jones, because Van Jones I like. But even though...
Wait a minute. Hold on. Time out. A minute ago you said that nobody on this podcast like Van Jones, but now you're back on the Van Jones train?
I'm on the Van Jones train. Anyways.
Wishy-washy.
Listen, I am.
That blade a little slow, bro.
It's your camera. It's not me. It's your camera. Anyways, but now we got to start to look at it from the inside out as well. Like, how do we work with those people who are in prison right now, who did the same exact thing, for, what she did? How are we looking at that from a prison reform, situation?
So let me ask you a question. And this is where, in my opinion, the whole Kim Kardashian thing is not as genuine as it may appear. If she was really that sincere, she didn't have to run the Twitter. She didn't have to run the Van Jones. She didn't have to get, there's a lot to get Kim Kardashian together, right? So for her to do an interview, to set up with a publicist, to do X, Y, and Z, yo, dog, this is all for the gram. This is all for Twitter. This is all for
clicks and views.
This is clicks and views. So again, we're being played, or as I heard you say before in this podcast, this is part of the show of, look at what I did for the blacks, or for the black.
You got a problem with that word?
Yo, my dude, that's what he said. The president said the blacks and their unemployment number. So what I'm saying is that, again, for that woman and her family, absolutely, they're saying, by any means necessary, we're trying to get out of jail. So I get that. But what I'm saying is, for us, if you're asking me to buy into this foolishness, again, it's foolishness, because Kim Kardashian, if it wasn't for Ray J, we wouldn't know who you are.
Wow.
Am I right?
Hey, wow. That's how I discovered
Ray J hit it first.
Wait a minute. Slow down. Easy. Right? But yo, Ray J.
And then when that tape came out, it wasn't no Pornhub or whatever. We saw that everybody had that on the VHS or the DVD. Oh, now you praying, Spudd?
No.
Ray J did it first.
I don't even.
Did he not? Ray J didn't. Brandy's brother didn't put on Kim Kardashian?
He did.
No,
He did.
listen.
He did.
I said this before.
I didn't know who Kim Kardashian was until that.
Right. Ray J, Azim said it before. I've said it. We are the architects of cool. We dictate what happens in popular culture. When I say we, I mean our community. Now, if it wasn't for Ray J putting Kim Kardashian on, she wouldn't have them 120 some odd million followers on this.
No, the show for sure. The show. But anyway,
if it wasn't for Ray J, Kim Kardashian wouldn't be Kim Kardashian.
Come on.
All right, let's talk about two things before we go. Maynard, you from Philly. Philly said, we ain't going. I don't care what nobody say, we not going. Is it, what does that say? You know, and now LeBron James came out. He said, it don't matter. We're not going. Anyone who wins this championship, sorry, LeBron, for not winning the championship, but anybody who wins this championship, they're not going neither. What does that say about this administration that people don't even want to go to the White House?
I think one of the things it says, particularly about generationally, that younger people do not accept the authority of the establishment the way that people our age or even older than us once did. Like, there was a time when FDR was like he went on the radio and Americans lined up and listened with bated breath, like, what is the president going to tell us to do? That same thing happened during Eisenhower, but it was Vietnam that tore the country apart in such a way that there was the counterculture did what they want to do. We as African Americans spent a lot of our lives in this country doing and going along to get along. We didn't want to be slaves. Then eventually they said, okay, we're going to let y'all be free, but we ain't going to let y'all have this. We ain't going to let y'all get this. We're going to keep y'all separate. We're going to do this. We're going to do the next thing. You can't ride this bus. You can't do that. You're going to have to work this way. Now, these black men in sports are saying, yo, I'm rich. I do what I want to do. You ain't going to make me do such and such and so forth. And what the Eagles were able to basically do is say, if so many of us don't show up, and don't get it twisted, it wasn't just the players. It was the team itself. 10 people were going to go. That was going to basically include the head coach, the ownership committee, and 2 or 3 players. But there were several assistant coaches. There were several players who were not black who said, no, I don't want to be a part of it. If my team isn't going, I'm not going. Because nobody wants to be told what they can do or not do. Yes, baby. Come here, baby. This is the baby girl, y'all. Y'all see the baby girl?
Molly. Hey, pretty girl.
Get out of here. What's up, baby? You going to go outside and play? All right.
Bye, baby.
All right.
Be safe out there. Don't let it go to your head. No,
So, but, and then and this is the thing, because I see a lot of LeBron hate going on too, right? Everybody is mad at LeBron because he's not Michael Jordan.
You showed a little LeBron hate, didn't you?
Who?
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure out how is LeBron going to tell a league what to do. He needs to shut up and dribble. Adam Silver needs to put LeBron in check. How are you going to tell?
Let me tell you something. Adam Silver needs the LeBron. First of all, make no mistake. LeBron and Steph Curry and Kevin Durant may be rivals at this point on the court, but they speak with one voice. Kevin Durant and Steph Curry had already said well before LeBron even said, no, we're not going. Steph Curry didn't want to go.
I'm sorry. How many other teams are in the league? So you mean to tell me that all of these white owners of the NBA are going to listen to what LeBron James has to say? What you been smoking?
LeBron James sells tickets, homie. LeBron James is the clicks and views of the NBA.
Let me help you out. Just like the NFL, just like y'all thought Colin Kaepernick was getting ready to throw a ball and he over there dancing with the hell of a duvet and they getting ready to shoot. That ain't how this work, Maynard. You can sit there and talk all that LeBron James foolishness all you want, but he will get checked in a minute. This is not, listen, you bounce a ball, homeboy. And when you get through bouncing, we're going to find somebody else to bounce the ball. That's what this league is about. So we're going to let you have this, but you need to watch your mouth because you can't tell an entire league what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. I don't give a damn how many
there ain't ever be a white man to own this show. We can't sell this show to a white man at all.
Let me say this. LeBron, you can say everything you said, Lamont. That's fine. God bless you. I'm glad you have opportunity to say it. But LeBron was right. Because Steph Curry and company said, we ain't going. LeBron said, if we win, we ain't going. And I'm sure had it been the Houston Rockets versus LeBron and Houston won, James Harden would have been like, we ain't going. If it had been Oklahoma City and Russell Westbrook would have said, we ain't going. I know one thing. They ain't going.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Let me just challenge Lamont, point to you real quick. But like the NFL, right? In the beginning, Colin Kaepernick started out sitting. Then from a Navy SEAL, he started kneeling. And then other people started kneeling. And then now the NFL has come back with a policy in regards to kneeling. If the NFL, which would be stupid, but if the NBA or the NFL decided to put in a policy that you have to go to the White House, that is a part of this situation, then they would have to go. That is where, for all of our white listeners.
What you going to do?
I don't understand.
Wait,
because this is important. I want you to expand on this. For all of our white listeners, understand, that is where racism is. That is what racism is about. That's where racism is at its core, where you begin to put in the policies that affect and change what African Americans do on a day-to-day basis and what they believe in, then that's where racism is at its core. Because it's easy for the president or anybody to be able to say, yo, I need you to come up here, hang out, let's go to Jekyll Island or let's go to Camp David or whatever. I need you to come to Mar-a-Lago. We need to sit there. We need to have a conversation. You know what? Whatever. Who's the commissioner? Adam Silver, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Adam Silver. Listen, man. You got me out here looking embarrassed with your LeBron James boy and your Steph Curry people, and that's cool and everything like that. But look, y'all need this, y'all gonna need this, y'all gonna need this, you're gonna need this, you're gonna need this. So I need you to go, and I need you to go and do this. If that happens, and I'm just far-fetched, but as you saw, it happened with the NFL, so it can happen. Then,
so Spudd, not to cut you off as you do me, that sounds like something similar in this country that they used to call the slave codes, right? They said, okay, slaves, you all are free, but if we catch you doing this, and this, you can go to jail, which just like 13th Amendment, you back being a slave again. So what you just said was, it's all about he who makes the rules. Am I right? So LeBron is bouncing a ball, Steph Curry is bouncing a ball, and they cannot affect policy at the NBA. They can only give an opinion.
Let me tell you what they can do.
Okay.
And what the Eagles prove that they can do. They can decide that we're not going to see the president. You can't. We won the Super Bowl. You can't take it back. You can't. The game was played back in February. What you going to do?
Bill Cosby got his stuff taken back. Bill Cosby got his stuff taken back.
Stop.
It can happen.
You can't take back the Super Bowl. We won. You can't take back the rings from Steph Curry. They won. And this is the thing. We have to, first of all, we have got to stand up for these people and be on their side. These black men have decided to take stances. Some people think it's stupid. But when we don't stand beside these black men, they get to do things to us and to black men that they won't do to anyone else. For instance, Barack Obama nominated the boy Garland Merrick. They said, we ain't even going to hear it. We ain't even going to hear it. That's not constitutional. But because nobody stood up and said, yo, we're not going to let this go down like this, it happened. Then what do we get? We get the boy Gorsuch because that's who Trump put in. If we don't stand for something, they're going to ramrod everything. And LeBron James or the Eagles or Colin Kaepernick or Steph Curry have decided that, yo, we're going to make stances out here.
I'm glad that they are.
Right.
I'm with you. My only point is, is that, let's just take the, 1964 Voting Act, right? We got the Voting Act. Do they still set up voter ID laws? Do they still set up things where you can't vote? I mean, the needle's always being moved forward. And even though we fight, we march, and we're always moving the chain, which is great. And I'm all with it. I'm down with the struggle. The unfortunate part about it is that when we don't make the rules, which we don't make the rules, it's easy for them to change. No one ever thought that the NFL and kneeling was going to be this situation. The sad part about it, in my opinion, Maynard, is that this was an easy fix. Now, all of a sudden, 12, 17 months later...
Stop shaking your damn head.
Wait a minute. Now you're talking to Colin Kaepernick in the NFL about what can you do, who should we pardon, because you got the power to pardon people, and now this is the hot button right now. You want to pardon everybody. No, 17 months ago, all you had to do is say, yo, Kaepernick, come up here, hang out with me, let's talk, let me see what we need to do. I understand what you're going through, but it looks like you're disrespecting the flag. I know you're not doing that, or you may not, but the way that my base looks at it and the way that I look at it is that you're disrespecting the flag. Let's have a conversation about that. That could have been done. Colin Kaepernick obviously is open to change, because if that was the case, he wouldn't have went from sitting to kneeling.
So let me ask you a question, because this is why I think that the Donald Trump that we have today is not the true Donald Trump, because the Donald Trump that was hanging out with Puff and Russell and Mike Tyson back in the day when he had the ties and he was hanging in New York, that's exactly what he would have done. It was like, yo, man, y'all come over here. Let's get a drink. Let's do some whatever it is we're going to do, and let's chop it up. And you're absolutely correct. I said the same thing, and it's making me think like this new base, because I call it new, because, again, if you look at Donald's history, although he may have been closet with it, he was always embracive of other cultures because he was about getting that bread. Am I right, Maynard?
I don't know I know he was about getting that bread. I don't know if he was embracing. There's one thing to say, I'm going to allow you to be who you are so I can get my money. That doesn't mean that he was accepting. That doesn't
he
mean
gave the perception, because if you out at the Hamptons hanging out at the white party with Russell and Puff.
You calling in on 50 Cent's radio show.
Yeah, you called in the 50.
Right.
Yeah,
right. But he was clout chasing. Like you said, and clout chasing is disingenuous in its nature. Do you really think that? Look, I don't like Van Jones. I don't think he's cool. All of a sudden, Van Jones says we want 3 black guys with a mic on, and I'll be like, okay, well, I'm gonna go up there and start bootlicking. No, we had a situation just like that in Detroit. The 3 of us.
We did.
Yes.
No, who was in there licking boots then,
man?
No, you want to put our business down.
There was no boot licking. No, y'all stood up for what y'all believed in.
And what did you do?
I stood up for what I believed.
You left us hanging.
No, I stood up for what I believed in.
At least we know who the bootlicker is.
Hello.
There was no bootlicking. The person
I wanted to bring that up.
I'm down with that person.
We stood for something.
Right.
I'm not about to let this opportunity go by. I'm gonna go ahead by myself.
We had a long conversation, and we all agreed. This is what we should do.
No. You agreed.
You agreed.
I'm just playing. I'm just bullshit.
It wasn't me by myself, was it?
Ladies and gentlemen, before we go, we do have to say rest in peace, to Kate Spade as well as Anthony Bourdain, the tragic news that happened over, the last week about both of them committing suicide. So we give our condolences to them and to their families. Are you doing a cactus this week? Is anybody cactus worthy?
Certainly there's.
Are you cactus worthy for leaving us hanging in Detroit?
Yes, since you did,
I didn't leave y'all hanging.
Since you bootlicked us out?
Hello.
You get a cactus right there. What? That is uncomforting, my friend. That right there.
Don't get my Timberland. Bring my Timberland down here.
So I feel like a cactus is definitely worth giving out this week. A man said a couple of days ago that Stormy Daniels was not to be respected in so many terms. That any woman who would trade money for trade her sexual identity for money is a whore and a horrible person, and the first lady is above her. There are pictures of the first lady who she shot pornography. She was involved with at least pornography of a lesbian, a homosexual.
Is she?
Yes. She's in
I know she was a model, and I know she did some naked flicks.
She did some naked flicks with another woman in it. Think about it now. There's another woman in the picture, and they're touching one another. That could be art. Let's tread lightly. I don't want to call the Stormy Daniels is listen. Do we think that Quentin Tarantino?
Tell me about Stormy Daniels. What did she do?
He always talking about porn.
Listen, tell me the last thing Stormy
Daniels, bro. Like, why?
So let's finish this off real quick. Yeah. So Stormy Daniels has been in pornography. She's been in pornographic movies. She's been in pornographic movies that have been made legally, as in it's okay for her to make those movies. It's an industry. We may not like it. Some people, I don't want my child to get involved with pornography. But that woman is out here earning and making a living. She deserves to be respected as a person, just as a person. Everybody got a right to be who they are. I don't care what's wrong with them. They got a right to be who they are. Some people decide to disrespect other people, and that happens. That's cool. I've been disrespectful to people on this podcast and in life. That's happened. I'm not perfect.
Every week you're disrespectful.
I'm not disrespectful to y'all bootlickers. So, but my dude, Rudy Giuliani, I'm going to need you to slow down, because the criticism that you're lodging at Stormy Daniels applies directly to Melania Trump. She has posed for pornographic material in the past. She has posed with other women for pornographic material that was for sale in the past. She has traded images of her sexual organs for money. So you really in fact, she asked you, or she stated like, hey, yo, I had no conversations with Rudy Giuliani. Why are you out here talking? I feel like Melania Trump is, she married Donald Trump, which is probably the worst mistake she's made, in my opinion. But she seems like a halfway real chilled person. Her fashion game is on 10. Lamont, we agree that the white that she was rocking 2 weeks back was like fly. Is that correct?
She's a W, man. Listen, with her clothes on, Melania is a W, bro.
With her clothes off, she's a W. Not to disrespect on, Melania in that way, but Melania is off limits in my opinion. She's just out here trying to survive.
Rudy Giuliani is trying to be supportive of Donald and Melania Trump, and in the meantime, absolutely dissing Melania Trump at the same time. Not to mention that Donald Trump has a history of sleeping with porn stars. So you can't diss the whore and let the John be okay. Like,
wait, but here's the crazy thing. Because didn't he cheat on Melania with Stormy Daniels?
He cheated on Melania with Stormy Daniels and the McDougal girl. The McDougal girl was a Playboy model too. You can't diss her for she posed nude. And I slept with her, but she's terrible, and I'm a Christian. What kind of foolishness is that? Get out of here, man. We're not.
And I'm sorry, I know you're doing your cactus, but this is just such a shame. I'm really kind of over it. I know Lamont has been over it, for the whole Trump thing a long time ago. I'm officially over it now. This is just madness, right? I don't know what Rudy Giuliani is on. Matter of fact, I know he practices voodoo. That's what it is. Rudy Giuliani practices voodoo.
Listen.
Serious.
Listen. I didn't want to take away from Maynard's cactus, but I'm going to tell you why Maynard's wrong. And I thought about this the other day. When Rudy Giuliani said, he said Donald Trump could shoot James Comey and he wouldn't get indicted, I said, these boys, they think this is a Godfather movie.
Yeah.
This has to be it, man. Let me tell you something, dog. These boys have a mentality of, we're going to reenact the Godfather. Right now, the president of the United States is over there getting ready to hang out with Lil Too Short. You know what I'm saying? What's his name?
Whoa.
Hashtag Lil Too Short. That's Too Short, right? Rocket Man.
So your tax dollars, the taxes I'm getting ready to send to the IRS in 2 weeks help pay for the gas for Donald Trump to go hang out with Lil Too Short. And some of that money, some kind of way, probably going back to Giuliani. And this is the biggest Godfather racket, conspiracy, just gangsterish thing I've ever seen in my life.
The unfortunate part about it, Maynard, is that I don't know why no one sticks up for themselves in this administration. Yeah. I mean, even the talking points from, let's just start with Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani's talking points, like, he didn't even have, first of all, he could have said, you know what, I'm not even going to comment on that. I ain't got nothing to do with their marriage or what they do or what that happened. I'm here to do a job about the Russia, investigation, and that's my job. I'm focused on that. But yet and still, you opening up the door for no reason. But you're opening up the door in a way that is allowing you to praise Donald Trump for no reason. Like, Donald Trump wouldn't even stoop to that level. It's like, why are you even talking that way?
And let's be honest. Hold on. And let's be honest about one thing.
With Pence. Pence does the same thing. It's like, Pence, Mr. Vice President, you gotta have some backbone. Like, I understand your job is to just say, I'm sure, Vice President, you're like, listen, my time is coming. You know what? Mike Pence is what's the boy's name in Scandal? The
Hawk?
No, not Hawk.
That's the only one I know.
President?
The chief of staff. He was the vice president. Cyrus. He's Cyrus Bean. He's like, look, I'm gonna shut up. My time is coming, and I'm gonna let the president be. I'm gonna give him all the props in the world. And when my time comes, I'm gonna do my thing. But that's just unfortunate because everybody's giving the president credit where he doesn't deserve credit. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, what are you doing? Why can't you just answer the questions? Listen, it's okay if you do wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. The American people will probably, the outside of the base will probably be like, finally, y'all admitted to something you guys did wrong. Kellyanne Conway, y'all mess up, and that's okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. So Rudy Giuliani, cactus. How about that?
Nope.
No cactus? Agave.
They winning too good, man. They can't no. They winning, bro.
Lamont, in front of you is the contract. Either your signature or your brains will be on it.
To your point, though, they are winning for right now, right? John Gotti did the same thing where he became the Teflon Don. He was getting away with everything. But it comes down, and the sad part about it, in the case of John Gotti, the person you never thought was going to tell on you, tells on you.
I got you.
We out, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for listening to this long episode of Three Black Guys with the Mic. We'll do it again next Tuesday. We got a great show next Tuesday. We're going to teach you how to repair.
What? Be careful what we teaching. I'm just saying. Be careful. All right, go ahead, sir.
Teaching you how to improve your credit. That's not nice. Now, see? Anyways, get with us next Tuesday right here for another episode of Three Black Guys with the Mic. Make sure you go to the website, threeblackguyswiththemic.com. Get in on the conversation. I'm sorry, everybody. You guys been hitting me up thanking me for the shout-outs. We didn't do shout-outs today. Shout out to all the new Facebook people. All the people in, I forgot Egypt. The guy who came on had some hot chicks too from Egypt that joined the Facebook page. Thank you so very much for continue to be on the Facebook page at Three Black Guys with the Mic. Join the conversation. Get us on Instagram and Twitter, and we'll do it again next Tuesday. Right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.